Are you ready? All right. You have made me feel very welcome. I had some good conversations. My name's Will Kimbrough, and I'm originally from just east of here on Highway 90, Mobile, Alabama. But I've been in Nashville for 37 years. And I've been explaining this lately to a couple of people that I haven't really been in the music business since about 1991, but I've just been playing music. Because the music business to me is like when you have a record label or publisher, somebody that is sort of a company that represents you. And that ain't me, because I was talking, y'all know Susan Gibson? She's so great, you know. I was playing with her in Montana 2 weeks ago, and she was asking me how I got connected with Jimmy Buffett, and I said, well, we just met one night. And that was it, because I think if I had been like a staff writer in Nashville, he wouldn't have touched me with a 10-foot pole. So that was when I started being grateful that I didn't have a publisher in Nashville. Well, she asked me, when does the bad luck stop? When do we rise to the top? It's awful hard work pulling up the rear. She said, now honey, don't you wanna be a big success? You can buy me a diamond and a wedding dress. I leaned in close and I whispered in her ear. Said I like it down here with the hobos and the drunks. I like the hard-bitten rabble with the leaving trunks. Blood in my mud and sawdust in my beer. I like a wake-up call at 1:30, and if I had a job, I would get it done. I could catch real fine trash fish off the pier. Like it down here. Well, she rolled her eyes and she bit her lip, let a skinny backbone slip. She lit a Chesterfield and she church keyed another beer. But she smiled and she said, I must admit that I always did like a man with grit. And then she slapped my face and she called out with a sneer. She said, I like it down here, boss, just as much as you. I like the bilge water and the bus tub stew. I got a three-legged dog and a one-eyed buccaneer. I like my homemade wine from a scuppernong. I like smoking guns, I love drinking songs. I got the big steam train with a drunken engineer. Well, I like it down here. I like it down here with the hookers and the whiskey priest. I like the bat chain pullers and the shiny beast. I got a street life lover with a tattoo of a tear. I want a woman with a face like a question mark, and she cleans up good when it's nice and dark, in a railroad flat with a monkey called Belvedere. Well, I like it down here. I like it down here. All right. Thank you so much. I'm glad to be with you tonight on this lovely Friday night, Houston, Texas. I was in Mobile last weekend for a wedding, and I'm always reminded when I come over here, you come from Tennessee to Texas, and you just think it's going to be a different atmosphere, but Houston is the Gulf Coast. So, same clouds, same moisture. It's all right. I like it. We ended a couple of tours with Todd Snyder back in the 90s here, and maybe we would play at, was it Rockefellers or something like that? We'd play there, and we'd have a big end-of-tour throwdown, just wind up at somebody's house, and then I'd get home the next day, and my wife would be like, what happened to you, So, like, I drank a lot of beer in Houston last night, so. Well, here's one I just wrote for my family. I've got 2 grown daughters and 1 grown wife, and we're still hanging in there after all these years. So somebody that I don't really know the other day sent me this Facebook message, wanted to book me to do something, and then I said, well, I'm not available. I'm going to be traveling during that time. And this person said, well, how does your wife feel about all this travel? And you know what I should have said. I know what my dad would have said. None of your goddamn business. But I said, well, we've been together for about 35 years. So absence must make the heart grow fonder. So here we go. This is called 3 Angels. And this song that has maybe what somebody would once call the devil's note in it, which in this key is right here. I'm pointing at it. It's right here. It's the flatted 5th. So the unflatted 5th would sound like this, where you play a G, and the 5th is D. It's just nice and clear. Just makes a chord. It's not major, it's not minor. But if you flat that 5th, see what I mean? It becomes a little eviler, or Zeppelin-esque. Or Charlie Parker, My Angel song has the devil's note. That's all I wanted to say. Disclaimer. 3 angels wake me up each morning, tugging at my sleeve. 3 angels see me off to bed each night. I never did believe until I saw them for myself. They don't have wings and halos, they don't dress in white. They don't have wings and halos, and they don't dress in white. From the tallest to the smallest, to the one who's in between, Lord, they're beautiful and they're funny in their way. One's a woman, one's a little girl, and one's almost a teen, and they get smarter than me each and every day. They get smarter than me each and every day. Everyone has angels looking over them. Yeah, there was a time I just could not see. Now I know the truth is I'm a lucky man indeed. Everybody has an angel, I've got 3. 3 angels looking over me. 3 angels, oh, they make me smile. 3 angels shine so bright to see. 3 angels, hot and sassy, meek and mild. go out into the world, and they always see me back home safe and sound. Sometimes in the morning they're a moody band of angels. Still it's good to have my angels hanging around. You know it's good to have my angels hanging around. Everyone has angels looking over them. Was a time that I did not believe. Now I know the truth is I'm a lucky man indeed. Everybody has an angel, I've got three. Three angels looking over me. Three angels, well, they make me smile. Well, three angels shine so doggone bright to see. Three angels hot and sassy, meek and mild. Three angels looking over me. Three angels, well, they make me smile. Three angels shine so doggone bright to see. Well, three angels hot and sassy, meek and mild and bold and brassy. My three angels make me glad to be alive. Hey, thank y'all. I'm going to do a new song that I wrote in Key West earlier this year, early part of the year. Went to the Grammys in February and got nominated as a songwriter. Didn't win, but got nominated. Got to go to the awards and met some really cool people. Going to the Grammys the whole weekend, you know, you go to this nominee party, and also they have a Lifetime Achievement Award in a separate little theater. It's not on TV and stuff. And I got to see some great performances and go to this awesome party, meet all these heroes of mine. And then we went to the, most of the Grammys are given away during the day at another separate but equal auditorium. And they gave away most of the awards to the people that I would know, the jazz folks and the blues folks and the bluegrass folks and the folk folks and the Americana folks. And then we went to the big award show, and I tell you, I mean, whether you like all the pop music or not, I mean, the dancing, some of the dance routines by these like 100 dancers on stage was kind of mind-blowing. But I had a gig the next day in Key West. And I had a gig Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday in Key West because the Grammys are on Sunday. And I don't usually have a gig on Monday night, but I had these good gigs that I wanted to do, you know. So we got on the red eye. We took the 12:53 a.m. flight to Miami, and then we flew to Key West. And so I took a little nap with my wife. We had a nice house we had rented. And then I left her and let her take a little longer nap. And I walked to my sound check because it's Key West. You just get your guitar and you walk over in your flip-flops to your little gig. Did my sound check. And here's what happened. There's a laundromat there called the Margaret Truman Drop-Off Laundrette. And that's for 30 years has been poetry to my ears, and I knew it was going to be in a song. But I never could figure out whether it was the title of a song, what the story would be, or whether it would just be a phrase in a song. Cool line to put in a song. And I then I walked past it again, going to my sound check, and I was like, there's that laundromat. There's that Margaret Truman laundrette. And for 30 years I've been wondering, why did somebody name a laundromat after the daughter of Harry and Bess Truman? I couldn't figure it out. And I had never asked anyone. But I thought about it. And then I crossed the intersection of Truman and Margaret and walked onto my sound check. And then I realized for 30 years I had been just walking right under it, even noticing it, but not paying any attention to it. And what that did was, aside from just the usual recognition of being a general dumbass, that's my military name, was that just meant I could write the song. It didn't occur to me. I just started to write the song. When I got back after sound check, and I was also had only slept for like an hour and a half. So anyway, I wrote the song, and when I got back to the house, I was scrambling for my guitar and my phone to record it because I'd kind of written it in my head. And my wife was like, "Oh, did you finally write the Margaret Truman song?" And I was like, "Yeah." So, but I like it a lot, so I'm gonna play it for you. And this is called the Margaret Truman Drop-Off Laundrette. If you're someone trying to find me since I left my past behind me, at a full sprint trying not to break a sweat. Buddy, I'm still mending fences, but I've moved the football inches to the Margaret Truman Drop-Off Laundrette. If you sort out my location at the ass end of the nation, I promise you ain't seen nothing yet. I left the hairspray helmet ladies and the lawyers in Mercedes for the Margaret Truman Drop-Off Laundrette. We all might be poor as dirt, steal the back right off your shirt, free from all them mortgages and debts. Here at least we get things clean. I know you know what I mean. It's the Margaret Truman Drop-Off Laundrette. My friend Mike from Louisiana, he don't mind the heat. He learned how to hustle back on Rampart Street, sipping Cuban coffee, smoking cigarettes at the Margaret Truman Drop-Off Laundrette. Everybody sing it. Now, sweet New Jersey Mary moved from Cape May to the Keys, tired of Yankee manners and that cold Atlantic breeze. She loves mangy tabby cats and pygmy marmosets and the Margaret Truman Drop-Off Laundrette. Well, I feel at home at last after a lifetime on the road. A drifting ne'er-do-well who chose to lighten up his load. We're all drunken poets here. There ain't no bros or bachelorettes at the Margaret Truman Drop-Off Laundrette. It's the Margaret Truman Drop-Off Laundrette. That's right. It's a prequel. I dedicate this one to the singer and the drummer that inspired this. Dedicated to Levon Helm and anybody out there looking for a place to call home. I'm walking in the valley of the shadow. I have no cause for fear. I can hear the devil whisper in my ear. Maybe it's a night wind howling down here. I'm walking in the valley of the shadow. I have no cause for fear. How long must I wander? How long must I roam? Why I was cast asunder, I don't know. I guess I must have said the wrong thing to the wrong rich man in Rome. How long must I wander? How long must I roam? 'Cause I've been walking in the valley of the shadow. I have no cause for shame. I did nothing wrong, still the trouble came. Walking on the straight and narrow, that's the long walk just the same. Walking in the valley of the shadow, and I have no cause for shame. I burn in the sun all day, but I freeze when the sun goes down. Ain't a lot of drinking water anywhere around. I hope I can make Damascus by the light of the breaking dawn. Burning in the sun all day, freezing when the sun goes down. Well, I've been walking in the valley of the shadow. I have no need to mourn. I've been walking holes in my shoes and my clothes are torn. I know I will rest in glory, but for now I'm moving on. Walking in the valley of the shadow, have no need to mourn. Well, I'm walking in the valley of the shadow. I'm praying for a little rain. I wonder why the high and the mighty cause a poor folks pain. I know there's no answer, but I'm asking just the same. Walking in the valley of the shadow, praying for a little rain. Walking in the valley of the shadow, praying for a little rain. Yeah. Hey, thank you. Let's see. Hey, I'm going to do... I come from lower Alabama, L.A., right? So, so if I go any farther south, well, I got to go east and head down Florida. And that has an interesting whole deep South Florida. Feels different from the deep South I'm from, which is fine. But people all over the world are obsessed with north, south, east, and west, and where you come from. I wrote this song with a friend of mine from Edinburgh, Scotland, which is in the deep south of Scotland. If you go a few miles south of there, you're in the north of England. And you do not want to make the mistake of calling a Scotsman an Englishman. And so we were talking about all this stuff about south and north and where you're from. And almost everybody where I'm from, with my skin tone, that isn't Cherokee, Choctaw, Chickasaw, or Creek, is Scots-Irish. And you probably know about that, and probably have some of that blood here yourself. So I'm tuning my guitar way down to C here. No devil's note. So we wrote this tune one day on my back porch. My friend Dean Owens was here from Edinburgh. And this is called Southern Wind. And I like that his point of view was coming from that part, the south of Scotland. And mine was coming from the south of Alabama. City late, leave the light on, falling down, fading fast. I was young at the wrong time. I can face home at last. Feel the wind blowing, feel the wind howl. Southern wind blowing, southern wind. Withering on the vine, autumn light, northern town. Now it's all on the line, leaving here, southern bound. Southern wind blowing, southern wind howl, southern wind blowing, southern wind. City late, keep the light on, I'm already gone. Feel the wind blowing, southern wind howl, southern wind, southern wind. Thank you. So that's a simple song, but I can always relate to that one. When is it okay to go back home? I go back home once a month and have really since my dad got diagnosed with dementia in, let's see, 2011. So, yeah, we've been traveling back and forth from Nashville to Mobile monthly since then. It's been a good thing. I'm going to do a song called Hill Country Girl that I wrote in New Braunfels, Texas, or Green, Texas by Green Hall over there. And that part of Texas that I think got flooded over there. And the Guadalupe River's right over there. You've ever been to Green Hall? I'm sure you have. So I was playing with Rodney Crowell, and I was going to open the show for him. And And so I did a sound check, and I did a sound check with Rodney, and then I went and sat, just sat on this bench out in the beautiful summertime day that it was, and the song just kind of happened my way. So it's called Hill Country Girl. So. Cornflower blue were her eyes, and her hair spinning gold in the hot summer wind. Soft were the words that she used when she told me she wanted to still be my friend. Said, don't misunderstand me. She said, I don't, as she turned into the haze of the twilight and walked down the road without shame or concern. Her name was Martha, and her mama died the year before. She'd been sick for a while. I helped her daddy that summer with work on the farm. She was shy with her smile. One night we talked until sunup. Next night we kissed until the dawn. These days I dream of my Martha till daylight comes hard now that Martha is gone. Her daddy was quiet like men get to be, but his eyes said he knew everything. One afternoon, he put his arm around my shoulders. He said, don't get hurt, son, you're still green. And that night I asked her to marry. She laughed out loud until she wept. She said, you saved my heart with your kindness and your comfort and your care, but I will not be kept. Some say she ruined me forever, left me heartbroken, stubborn with pride. Some say she made me the loner I am. I say her memory keeps me alive. Now I keep up with her as she moves through the world with a grace I admire from afar. From Austin to Nashville to L.A. and back to the farm in her dirty old car. Her eyes are still my horizon, and her smile's still a fine row of pearls. I can't help it, I guess it's made me a mess. I'm in love with a hill country girl. No, she don't love me yet, I will never regret all my love for a hill country girl. Thank you so much. Just kind of plowing through some songs. This song's just called "I'm Not Running Away." I'm just running. It's something I thought about for a long time in my life, and then sort of tells the story by itself. So, well, I'm not running away. I'm just running. I never could sit still for very long. It's not the highway calling me or the wild blue yonder. It's just a chance to pick a while, sing a song. Always did like running, I never did know why. Maybe it's the closest you can get to flying. Always like the deep end, cool and dark and blue. I never meant for you to think that I was trying to get away from you. Well, I'm not running away, I'm just running. I never could sit still for very long. It's not the highway calling me or the wild blue yonder. It's just a chance to pick a while and to sing a song. Always loved the mountain, but I never did know why. Maybe it's the closest you can get up to the sky. And I always have been restless. I stay packed and set to move, but I never meant for you to think that I was trying to get away from you. I'm not running away, I'm just running. I never could sit still for very long. It's not the highway calling me or the wild blue yonder. It's just a chance to pick a while and to sing a song. In another life I might have lived down by the ocean. Instead of all this constant motion, yeah. Well, I'm not running away, I'm just running. I never could sit still for very long. The highway calling me or the wild blue yonder. It's just a chance to pick a while and to sing a song. It's just a chance to pick a while and sing a song. I'm not running away. Thank you very much. I met this guy named Jimmy Buffett at Tipitina's in New Orleans. It must have been 1996. And I'd met him before. I was playing with Todd Snyder, and Todd was on this record label called Margaritaville Records. And the owner was the same guy. And so I'd met him in a line of walking up to him and shaking hands, listening to a new Todd Snyder record at a recording studio. And I had a new baby at the time. She's 30 now. And so she was on my shoulder, and I met Buffett. But then at Tipitina's, we played on stage together, and there was a scene backstage where pretty much everybody in the club wanted to be backstage because he was back there and Jerry Jeff Walker was back there because he got up and played with us too. So it was a big night in New Orleans. But about 30 minutes into being backstage, which is about the size of this stage, there's like 150 people in this tiny area just trying to have the big party. And I was standing backed up against the wall, and I looked to my right, and there's Jimmy Buffett. So I said, well, Jimmy, I'm Will Kimbrough. I'm from Mobile, Alabama. I went to Murphy High School. And he goes, oh, you're another escapee. And I said, I guess so, yeah. And so that really started. A couple of years later, he reached out to me and wanted to hear songs. And one of those songs was this song, and that I wrote in in a room in the neonatal intensive care unit, the NICU at Baptist Hospital in Nashville, when our youngest daughter was born a few weeks early and had to spend a couple of weeks in the NICU. So if you know a NICU nurse, please hug their neck for me and tell them thank you for, because both our children were born early. And the NICU nurses are angels that walk upon this earth. They give parents of little tiny babies not only hope and relief, but knowledge that they can use that their little babies are going to be, most of the time going to be okay. So anyway, but I wrote this there because I was so excited I couldn't sleep. I went in the bathroom and got some paper towels out of the hand dryer thing and wrote some words down. Luckily, I didn't wash them in the washer or anything like that. And so Buffett asked for songs, and I sent him a couple of CDs that I had made, and he reached back out to me a few months later and said, I'm going to record this song. And he picked another one, too, that he ended up not recording, but Little Feat recorded it because Billy Payne, the piano player for Little Feat, was playing on the session, too. And at the end of the session, he said, whatever happened to that other song? Why didn't we record it? I liked that one. And I said, well, I guess it was Jimmy's choice, so whatever. And he goes, well, it'd be okay if Little Feat recorded it. So I said, yeah. So I got, two birds and one stone at that time, and that was 22 years ago. The point being that this started a 20-year relationship with Jimmy Buffett that only ended when he passed away, and we were writing songs right up until the end. So it was a great experience. A third of my life I spent writing songs with Jimmy Buffett, in a sense. So pretty awesome. So this is the first one. All right. I'm a piece of work, I'm iron and lace, shy right up there in your face. All dumbfounded, stubborn as an ass, sharp as an arrow in a pile of glass. A sweetheart, genius, reckless, jerk, and Lord have mercy, what a piece of work. Well, the Lord made me on a long, thin limb, made sure I'd remember him. Her in the middle of a long, dark night creation, crazy death sheep, white and made in the image of a lion-shock lamb. I am who the hell I am, and ever better, bad to worse, down to the letter, I'm a piece of work. I'm a piece of work, I'm an angel's fiend. I've been bathed in lavender and gasoline, scared, brave, shallow in an ink black well, and lightly brown in the fires of hell, and wicked, holy, full-on fake. Best known for my big mistake, I'm zen, wise, peaceful, gone berserk. I said, good God Almighty, piece of work. I'm a dreadful sight and I just don't care. I spent all morning pulling out my hair, woke at dawn with a crazy spin. I was half the day trying to get back in, and Mother Bloody Mary, please wipe that smile off your knees. I'm the CEO of the mailroom clerks. Say, good God Almighty, what a piece of work. I'm a lovesick boy, cloth cap, caviar, and corduroy all over the map, but just lost in space. Filthy mind, a choir boy's face, and heels up, head down, straight on through. Watch out, woman, I'm gonna get to you. I'm a gladiator with a mind to earth. I'm gonna see you a little later. A piece of work, a piece of work. I'm a piece of work. Lost this guitar player for the band Kiss just like yesterday, right? And I saw them when I was 11 years old. Kiss and Blackfoot. Yeah. And it partially made me, learn guitar, because you could learn those licks. I I learned later that it was just all Ace Frehley's licks were Mick Taylor's licks off of Get Your Ya-Ya's Out by the Rolling Stones. And all those licks were B.B. King licks from B.B. King Live at the Regal. And all those licks were from T-Bone Walker. But tonight we're paying tribute to Ace, so we gotta say, well, I'm back in the New York groove. Well, I'm back in the New York groove. I'm back. There we go. Ace Frehley. Y'all were ready to keep going. I like that. We were listening to that up at the bar earlier on the phone, and everybody was kind of starting to dance. It's got the same groove as Piece of Work, so I can claim that Ace Frehley is one of my biggest influences on the first song that I ever did that Jimmy Buffett recorded. That's some rock and roll history for you right there. I'm going to do a song, first song I ever wrote with Buffett. It's called Wings. And I sent him a little idea, and he dug it. And next thing I know, I was down in St. Bart for about 36 hours, and we finished 4 songs in 36 hours. And then he went on to have his illustrious career, and I went to Scandinavia for a winter tour. He was like surfing in St. Bart's, like drinking gin and tonics with Merv Griffin. He was. I met Merv Griffin on that trip. So we finished writing this song, and we made a little recording of it. And he goes, "Hey, on the way to dinner, let's go. Do you mind if we go have a drink on my buddy's boat?" And I was like, "Okay." So we walked down to the marina, and there's a Captain von Stubing guy in an outfit, and then an assistant, Captain von Stubing. And they ushered us on, and we sat down. It's a huge, beautiful yacht in the St. Bart Harbor. And it was Merv Griffin. He had kind of sold it all and bought this yacht, and he was just spending his last few years on a boat all over the world. So Merv wins. He was a very happy-looking little guy. He was like a tiny little man. He was like 90, and he had shrunk down some tennis outfit and just kind of real tan and big, gigantic tumbler like, "Jimmy, how you been doing?" "Well, Merv, I'm writing some songs with Will here." "Lloyd, Will, cheers." It was like being with Thurston Howell. I've been up around the stratosphere, 31,000 feet. I'm gonna fly on out of here on wings that you can't see. If you're ever gonna fly without fear, you're gonna have to learn to love the atmosphere, and you gotta learn to use those wings that you can't see. I've been skiing on the mountains of the moon all weekend long. I've been looking out for life on Mars, singing my favorite songs. And all these things could be yours too, if you just take another point of view. Everybody's got a pair of wings that they can't see. I've got wings that you can't see. I have wheels on my feet. Way up high, I feel free. On these wings that you can't see. I don't need no plane ride, I don't need no airport line. I can hang around that treetop flyer level all day long. And now I'm looking down on tiny cars, tiny swimmers swimming around pools in yards, all on account of these wings you can't see. I got wings that you can't see. I have wheels on my feet. Way up high, I feel free. On these wings that you can't see. try and open up your mind, you might learn some things. And God only knows what you might find floating on those wings. Hey, you can try to fly away from all your problems. I'm here to say it ain't the way to solve them. I can only help you with the wings you can't see. I've got wings that you can't see. I have wheels on my feet. Well, I feel so free. If you come on, take a little taste of freedom. High up in a cloudland kingdom, take a little trip on the wings. Take a little trip on the wings. Take a little trip on the wings that you can't see. Thank you. Spent some time in Muscle Shoals working in the studio there, a place called Fame. And I was working with this piano player named Spooner Oldham, who's also a songwriting partner for Dan Penn. So they wrote I'm Your Puppet, and Dan wrote, Do Right Woman, and all kind of great songs. So Spooner's one of these kind of Rock and Roll Hall of Fame member, super quiet, humble, Southern gentleman, basically. So I was working with him and just kind of fell in love with Spooner as a person, and he's just so down to earth. Like, we played a gig a couple of years ago in Montgomery, Alabama, and he walked in with his famous Wurlitzer piano, which he played on all the Aretha Franklin hits. Electric piano. It's a heavy, big thing, but not a giant grand. But it has chrome legs that screw in and also a sustain pedal that connects. And so he had the piano under one arm, and he had a big black garbage bag with all the other stuff in it. So, he's down to earth. He's from North Alabama. So this is called Soulfully. I was thinking about those country soul songs from Muscle Shoals, and how much Spooner had to do with it, and how he would. You really have to beg him to tell you a story about, on Aretha Franklin's first real, iconic hit, I Never Loved a Man the Way That I Love You. The intro is Spooner playing the piano, and they couldn't get the groove going, and then Spooner started doing that little thing, that. And then Aretha just opened up, and the world changed for the better, Think about if Aretha hadn't had those hits, she would have just been a story on NPR. Instead, we all got to experience Aretha. So, here we go. Hey, this song has a little sing-along back and forth on it, right? So when I do the chorus, really the chorus is just the word soulfully. So it walks up here, soulfully. That's your part. And I say smiles and laughter, and you say soulfully. And then I say words so kind, and you say soulfully. And then I say here ever after, and you say soulfully. Say that you'll be mine. Yeah, that's very good. It's going to be good. Give me all you got, and that's a lot. I understand I am a lucky man to have you in my life. You make me feel so free, soulfully. I know you can be tough, but just enough. You tender too, and you know just what to do. Give me what I need, soulfully. Soulfully, smiles and laughter, words so kind, yeah, so here ever after, so say that you'll be mine. You know that I send up a prayer, send it way up there, a little prayer of gratitude. I got to give my thanks for you and all the love you bring, love you bring. Soulfully, here we go. Soulfully, smiles and laughter, baby. Words so kind, yeah, soulfully, here ever after. Say that you'll be mine. Be alone, 'cause I'm at home when I am wrapped up in your arms and all your loving charms. Kisses so, so sweet you give to me soulfully. Well, soulfully, smiles and laughter, baby. Words so kind, yeah, yeah. Here ever after. Say that you'll be good. That's good. I like it. This is something I made up with my friend Tommy Womack. Now, I got to tell you, that song, that's another of the songs that Buffett recorded. He dug it, and he loved Spooner too. And on the recording that we made with Jimmy, Michael Utley plays just a fantastic organ solo, right out of the church. And it reminded me that when Mike Utley was 23 years old, he played on an Aretha Franklin record that won the Grammy for Record of the Year in 1972 called Spirit in the Dark. And he was 23 years old working down in Miami at Criterion Studios with a great producer, Tom Dowd, who produced Allman Brothers and Cream, among other small bands. And produced John Coltrane, Charles Mingus. So a giant, and Mike was in the house band, and he was a young kid from Mississippi and idolized Aretha Franklin and Tom Dowd. And when the session started with Aretha, a Hammond organ has a volume pedal on it. It's kind of like a gas pedal. If you push it all the way down, it's the loudest. Backed off, it's quiet. And he was nervous, so he kept backing it off. And they all had headphones on, and in the headphones, she'd be singing, and then he'd hear Aretha go, "Who's on organ?" And he'd be like backing off more. And so they'd stop the take, and she'd go, "Who's on organ?" And they'd go, "Mike." And she'd go, "Turn the damn organ up." And he'd be like, "Oh, okay." And he was just shy, And finally they just like pushed it all the way down and put some tape on it. And it was the Record of the Year. It's amazing. Not just for that reason, but it allowed them to get through the record. So allowed Aretha once again to open up and be Aretha. So that's a pretty cool connection to me. I like that kind of stuff. So speaking of, I'm going to put my slide on and play this tune that I wrote with my friend Tommy Womack, who's a PK, preacher's kid, Parsons kid, from the Cumberland Presbyterian Church in western Kentucky. So his daddy was a preacher for a church full of coal miners and their families. And it's literally from Muhlenberg County, Daddy, won't you take me back to Muhlenberg County, down by the Green River where paradise lay? Well, I'm sorry, Tommy Womack, but you're too late in asking. Mr. Peabody's coal train is hauled today away. And so we wrote this tune for our parents. His parents were the son and daughter of sharecrop tobacco pickers. I guess were too poor to even get a gig at the mine. And they got married. Tommy was an oops baby way after his other siblings were born. So his parents were way older than him from the Depression generation. And so when he brought home Kiss Alive, they didn't know what to think. Even more than my parents didn't know what to think. So, but we wrote this, and my parents were from Lower Alabama, from Butler, Alabama, which is right by Meridian, Mississippi, and Thomasville, Alabama, which is by Grove Hill, Alabama, just in case you needed to know. And if you keep going north, you hit Pine Hill. So this is called Nobody from Nowhere. And one thing I like about this tune, Buffett recorded this. I sent him a recording of it, me and Tommy singing, and he called me. He was driving somewhere in Alabama, kind of reliving his youth. He was writing one of his books, and he was trying to remember some years in the 60s when he would drive up to Auburn. And he called me, and he said, damn it, I'm Nobody from Nowhere. I'm going to record that song. He said, tell your wife to buy some new living room furniture. I was like, what are you, Dean Martin or something? So, but anyway, we did get some new living room furniture. I kind of stole the beginning of like, Jessica by the Allman Brothers. Why not steal from the best? Well, I'm nobody from nowhere you would have ever heard of anyway. Ain't no city way down there could have heard a pin drop any time of day. I'm not sorry, I'm not sad. Might take a whole day just to drive out here and visit. Not too worried, no, it's not too bad. Nothing much to do, but that ain't such a hardship, really, is it? When you're waiting for a car to drive by just so you can wave hello, 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 hello. Staring at a starry night sky, you've been dreaming of some place to go. Hello, hello, oh. Till that day comes, I'll be there, alone without a care. Nobody from nowhere. I'm nobody from nowhere you would have ever heard of anyhow. Ain't no reason you should care. There's a P.O. box and a four-way stop. There's farms and fields and cows and we're just waiting for a car to drive by just so you can wave hello, 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 hello. You've been staring at a starry night sky. You've been dreaming of some place that you got to go. Hello, hello. Till that day comes, I'll be there, alone without a care. Nobody from nowhere. You're waiting for a car to drive by just so you can wave hello, hello, hello. Oh. Staring at a starry night sky, you've been dreaming of some place you just got to go, got to go, got to go. Till that day comes, I'll be there, alone without a care. Nobody from nowhere. Car to drive by just so you can wave. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you very much. Who's that? There's a lot of those. I mean, I live in Nashville and we're in Texas, so it's just, I bet somebody's down the block that's the best guitar player you've never heard of. So, hey, but you know the thing about it, I've been able to work as a guitar player since I was 12 years old, and I'm only 15 now. The future's wide open. Now I've been playing guitar and you know, kind of working as a guitar player for 50 years. So, and I'm tired. Tired of the bullshit. So, I wrote with Jimmy and ended up for Jimmy for 20 years. Christmas 2019, Jimmy kind of let it slip that he was doing some treatment, sometimes here, sometimes in Boston. And so I thought, well, yeah, he's, you know, in his 70s now and having a little cancer stuff, you know. I thought, you know, maybe a little skin cancer, bless you. And who knows? But he didn't say what it was. And we wrote 5 songs for a record called Life on the Flip Side that we recorded in January of 2020. Bless you again. And so it was a cool record. I had just absolute joy working on it with everybody. And but 2020 happened. And oh man, it's gotcha. Starting to get into those good sneezes too, like whoo. Ow! Ow! It's good stuff. Histamine. This is my cousin Histamine over here. Itabena, Mississippi. But, I'm in the wrong tuning anyway. I got to start. Oh, I see what it is. I got it. Tune this one up. Sounds good in here. Thank you, Grayson, for running sound. Making it sound good. It's like the world's quickest sound check. It's like, check the guitar. It's like, sounds good. Vocal. Hello. Okay, we're ready. Thank you. So we made that record. Everybody did the 2020 thing. And then in Christmas 22, I got another call from Buffett. And he would say in those later years, are you ready for some homework? And that meant I'm thinking about making an album. Would you like to write some songs? And, of course, I'd always say, sure, yeah. But it would always be Christmas and Christmas time. So he called me December 11th, and I said, sure. And so about a week later, he sent me 3 song ideas. And Jimmy would, like, draw a picture and write in his date book and take a picture of it and send me an article from Life magazine or whatever. And then he would send me a storyboard for a song, and then he'd have me sketch out a song and then send it back to him. If he liked it, then he would work on it with me some more. And so on December 19th, I had a house full of house guests. It was, you know, less than a week before Christmas. And I finally had like 2 or 3 hours to work on the songs. because I had asked him at that, when he finally sent me the ideas, I said, well, when are you going to record? He goes, in January. So that's the way he worked. Most people don't do that. Most people don't start writing a record 3 weeks before they go in the studio, especially people of his stature. They write and write and write, and then they have songs ready. Jimmy would just think, I need to make a record. I need to write some songs. Bam, bam. Through Christmas time, we write all the songs, and then in January, in like 5 days, we record everything. And it was a great way to do it. Not a lot of second guessing, which is good. Can be good. So, 22, he called me and said, are you ready for some homework? I said, sure. And so on December 19th, I finally had some time, like 3 hours free. And so I sketched out 3 songs for him because I had written lyrics from his notes, and I just went for it. I knew at that point I was in the 20th year of writing with him. I knew that he trusted me, and I had figured out, because I'm a slow learner, as I told you earlier about Margaret Truman drop-off laundrette, but when I do finally realize what's happening, I can act accordingly. And so it's like, he trusts me, I'm just going to write these songs however I see fit. And so one song was this song called Close Calls that's on his last record, Equal Strain on All Parts. And he wanted to tell another story about how he almost got killed by Buford Pusser. And I don't know if y'all have heard recently, but it's come out now that it's firmly believed by, law enforcement folks that he killed his wife and shot himself. You should read it. Look it up on the interweb. It's fascinating. So anyway, Jimmy got in a bar fight with Buford Pusser in like 1972 in Nashville, and of course Buford Pusser beat Jimmy's ass. So that's all he really told me about it. So I just put that in the song. Well, I fought Buford Pusser in a honky-tonk joint. He whooped my ass. That's beside the point. Close calls. Close calls. Lucky just to be alive. He liked it, so that became one of the songs. And then he had this song that he wanted to write called The University of Bourbon Street, and it was about basically how he dropped out of college from Auburn and moved to New Orleans and played in a cover band on Bourbon Street in about 1966, 67, and learned the joys of playing in a rock and roll band and playing for a party audience. I think it stuck, and then he went back to school, blah, 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 but he got the fever for being in a band at that point, so he wanted to write. So we wrote this song called The University of Bourbon Street, and I sketched it out that day on my iPhone, sent it to him. And then he had this song about encouraging someone who's struggling. And he had taken the Navy diving course, where one of the final tests they do is they fly you out over the open sea in a helicopter and drop you with your full diving kit on into the open ocean, and you just somersault down into the water with all that heavy gear on. And when you come upright, sometimes, a good bit of the time, you're not even standing upright. You might be upside down or sideways, and you don't know which way is up anymore. And one of the things they're training you for is if your plane crashes or your boat sinks or gets blown up in combat, to remember that bubbles go up to the surface. They don't go down. So if you're thinking you're swimming the right way and you see bubbles going that way, well, turn around and go that way, because it might save your life. So he had this whole idea of bubbles up, telling somebody that's struggling, don't worry, the air and the light are up there. It's going to be okay. And so I sketched this one out that day. And all 3 of the songs are on the record, but this one got the note from him that I pretty much instantly memorized. And you never get a note this sweet from a co-songwriter. It's usually more instructive, constructive. It's going to be good, but the rhymes are soft, and it's in the wrong key, and the bridge isn't right yet. But Jimmy just said, Bubbles Up is great. I can't wait to work on the lyrics. I'm saving the other 2 like pralines on my pillow for dessert. And that's the nicest co-writer note I've ever gotten in my life. And he sang the hell out of the song, and this is the one that Paul McCartney commented on when Jimmy died, that when Jimmy was on his deathbed, he played me this song, and I thought his vocal was really great, and so that's pretty, and he said it was a good song, so I'll take that. But I'll tell you this, when he sent me this idea and I started to work on it, and I had that 3-hour period to sort of sketch out these 3 tunes. We wrote 2 more for the record, too, for 5 songs, but But I had if you have a record player or you've ever had one, I still have a record player, a couple of them. And when you have a record player and a bunch of records and you're playing records, you get a bunch of them out. If you have a day or a night, you get one out and you're like, man, I want to listen to Neil Young after the Gold Rush. Let's get that one out. Man, we should listen to Joni Mitchell, The Hissing of Summer Lawns. Man, wouldn't it be cool if we got out that Linda Ronstadt record with You're No Good on it? What about Little Feat Sailing Shoes? Let's get that one out. Let's get out Bob Marley, Burnin'. Next thing you know, you got a stack, and you don't want to put them all away because you're going to want to listen to them some more. So I had a stack on the floor, and on top of it was a record by Jimmy called Living and Dying in Three-Quarter Time, one of his best early records. So I started playing this three-quarter time thing, a little waltz time. When this world starts a-reeling from that pressure drop feeling, just treading water each day, there's a way to feel better, be well set to weather the storms till the sun shines again. When your compass is spinning and you're lost on the way, like a leaf in the wind, friend. And me when I say bubbles up, they will point you toward home. No matter how deep and how far you roam, they will show you the surface, the plot and the purpose. So when the journey gets long, just know that you are loved. There is light up above, and the joy is always enough. Bubbles up. To my friends who are jolly when melancholy knocks, sometimes they let her in, and they sit and share stories of flops and of glories. It ain't half as bad as the bends. Sometimes living is a struggle, multiplied double, but they love it too much for the party to end. Bubbles up, they will point you toward home. No matter how deep and how far you roam, they will show you the surface, the plot and the purpose. So when the journey gets along, just know that you are loved. There is light up above, and the joy is always enough. Bubbles up. Hey, let's pop a cork to the rough and the right, to the bright blazing days and the sweet starry night. Bubbles up, they will point us toward home. No matter how deep and how far we roam, they will show you the surface, the plot and the purpose. So when the journey gets long, just know that you are loved. There is light up above, and the joy is always enough. Bubbles up. Yeah, bubbles up. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yep. That's a good one. when we go out and play, we just played 20 shows with the Coral Reefer Band this summer with the Doobie Brothers out on the East Coast and through the Midwest. And I think next summer we're going to get to come bring it to Texas. Just the Coral Reefers, but we'll do the whole show, the whole 2.5-hour show. And it's been a real joy to do those. Of course, the band are friends of mine for a long time, and the great McGonigel kind of at the helm, and a great person to lead a group. I'm going to do the tune that we wrote right around that same time, just because it's so much fun. And if I don't sing it, nobody else might sing it, because Jimmy's not going to sing it. So this is called the University of Bourbon Street. And when we recorded it, the special guest on the song was the Preservation Hall Jazz Band. And when we played Jazz Fest 2024, tribute to Jimmy in front of 40,000 people, I got up front to sing it, and the Preservation Hall Band came out. And so we had the whole Coral Reefer Band, the Preservation Hall Band. We had Sonny Landreth playing slide. We had Jake Shimabukura playing ukulele. It was incredible, 40,000 people. And then that night, I got invited to Preservation Hall to sing it again with just the Preservation Hall Band. And so it's just like a dream that I got to live. And so I'd like to do this. We'll just imagine that the Preservation Hall Band is with us. And when the little solo part comes, maybe we can all pretend that we're clarinets and trombones. If the spirit moves you, please do it. So. I guess the point of going to college was to acquire myself a little knowledge. It helped me figure out what life was really all about. It made Pete and JD happy, and it set me wild and free. So I danced out of Mississippi to the University of Bourbon Street. I sang a hey, hey, Pocky way on a streetcar headed uptown. I went to class every day. I never wore a frown. I was taught by the Neville brothers, Benny Spellman, and a whole lot of others. That brass band blew my mind when I joined in the second line. I felt the power of the gree-gree. I got my soul saved by the backbeat. I was branded by Jean Lafitte at the University of Bourbon Street. I sang on a paddle wheel boat. I floated down the Mississippi. I helped build a Mardi Gras float. I smoked a joint with a beautiful hippie. I changed my guitar strings. I heard a church choir sing. I thought things just couldn't get better. And then I walked down to Central Grocery and I had myself a muffaletta. I took my lunchbox to the streetcar that Tennessee named Desire. I just followed my dancing feet to the University of Bourbon Street. Here we go. Ready? Everybody get their Louis Armstrong, their inner Billie Holiday going. Pat O'Brien's hurricane accreditation, old school sex education, and I learned how to eat. From the music and the people to the cooking and the joy, it really ain't a mystery. I just followed my dancing feet to the University of Bourbon Street. I got my lucky dog PhD at the University of Bourbon Street. I got my poor boy master's degree at the University of Bourbon Street. University of Bourbon Street. Psst. Okay. I'm gonna, Okay, I'm gonna do another song that's inspired by New Orleans, but it comes from a different place. So those are some of my final songs I got to do with Jimmy. It was a great experience to have. I've been going around telling these stories for a couple of years because, again, I'm the one that wrote the songs with him, so I know the story. My co-writer is not here to tell the story anymore, so I love to tell it, and thank you for listening to me. It's a great experience to have gotten to do and to get to keep doing. So. Had a lot of road experiences in my life with a lot of different people. I was in my own bands. I was in a band that John Prine signed to his label. I played with Todd Snyder for years. I played with Rodney Crowell for years. That's what first brought me to the Mucky Duck. And I've been playing with Emmylou Harris off and on for 14 years, so I've had some real good bosses. And but the whole time I've been writing my own songs and making my own records because that's really what I signed up for. But who's going to tell Emmylou no? She's like, would you come sing and play with me? Nah, I don't have time for that. So anyway, great stuff. So this is a song that comes from one of those road trips where I had a summer tour. You're a little more sweaty on stage. And so I had a bunch of clothes that needed to be washed, and I didn't want to spend another day of my life in a laundromat or even at a venue with a washer and dryer. I just wanted to drop it off. And I had a day off in Providence, Rhode Island, so I found this cool-looking place, not as cool as the Margaret Truman drop-off laundrette, but it was the D'Alessandro Brothers Laundry. And I went in there, and they were all brothers and cousins, Italian-American, New England people, yelling, hollering at each other, insulting each other in a loving way like they do. And I dropped off my clothes. I said, can I drop these off? And they go, yeah, we can just call it wash and fold. You just drop it off. Drop it off, we'll wash it and fold it for you. No problem. So I said, great. So I come back the next day, get the clothes back, about $25, and they're really folded in a loving manner, as if my mother herself, and when she missed me, wanted to fold my clothes. And the shirts are hanging on these cool hangers with the D'Alessandro Brothers logo on it, and I was just really happy with myself. And I'd spent a day, instead of at the laundromat, walking around Providence, Rhode Island on a summer day. So a couple of weeks later, I had the same situation. I was in New York City. I needed to do my laundry again, so I thought, aha, I'm going to go to the first cool laundry I see and drop it off and tell them wash and fold. But it's New York, so it's a different culture from Providence, Rhode Island. So I went in the place, and there's nobody else in there but the guy behind the counter, and he wasn't even looking up at me. And I was like, how you doing? He was like, he was looking down at the newspaper just like, I'm good. How about you? And I was like, well, I'm going to drop off these clothes. He was like, all right. And I was like, I think I'm going to do wash and fold. He's like, wash and press is a lot better. And, so I had this bubble that was just burst. And it felt like David Copperfield or something, What do you mean? And so I dropped the clothes off. I insisted I wanted wash and fold. He was like, all right, it's your clothes, So I dropped them off, got them the next day, and it was twice as much money, And I got the clothes, and they were clean. They were folded by an angry person. And so I just learned a little bit of a lesson from that. And so I wrote this song called Wash and Fold. So here we go. Now meet me down at the wash and fold. Let me dance before I get too old. And don't be quiet, baby, don't be cold. Meet me down at the wash and fold. Sitting pretty, sitting high and dry. I'm not lonesome, I won't cry. I'm not ready for the bye-bye. Sitting pretty, sitting high and dry. Think I'm ready for my close-up now. It's time to barbecue the sacred cow. Hallelujah, mama, don't ask how. Think I'm ready for my close-up now. I think I'm ready for it. Hey. You know that I've been blowing bubbles at the laundrette. I will show you just how clean a man can get. When we're rubbing and we're scrubbing till we're soaking wet, blowing bubbles at the laundrette. The washateria's open, babe. You can struggle, you can scrimp and save, but you can't take it with you to your grave. The washateria's open, babe. Wash and fold it with me all night long. There ain't nothing dirty, there ain't nothing wrong. You won't be worried about a thing for long. Wash and fold it with me all night long. Wash and fold it with me. Let's go swimming in the Pontchartrain. Let's go running naked in the Mobile rain. We're gonna hop a boxcar on the Memphis train, and we'll swim across the Pontchartrain. You know that I'm a smoking possum with the chimney sweep. The Mississippi River's running 3 miles deep. There's a little bitty baby snoring fast asleep. Smoking possum with the chimney sweep. Bring us whiskey, tender, bring us beer. I wanna tattoo you, I wanna pierce your ears. There ain't no ancient Chinese secret here. Bring us whiskey, tender, bring us beer. Right over here, right over here. Swimming in the Pontchartrain, and let's go running naked in the Mobile rain. Hop a boxcar on the Memphis train, swim across the Pontchartrain. You know the wash and fold, wash and fold. Meet me down at the wash and fold, wash and fold, wash and fold. Let me dance before I get too old. Wash and fold, wash and fold. Meet me down at the wash and fold. Wash and fold, meet me down at the wash and fold. There we go. I'm going to do this tune and call it a night. There's a great artist playing next show. Willie Porter's here. And so I got to talk to him tonight. We actually had never met, which is crazy because we know so many people in common. But that was a good conversation. And so I'm going to do this tune that I wrote at this retreat center north of here in Waxahachie, Texas. Actually in Italy, Texas. You ever been to Italy, Texas? They used to have that UFO building there. Built this big building, and the outbuildings all shaped like flying saucers. And they used to have a restaurant there, but somebody tore it down. Kind of sad. But there's a great retreat center just south of Waxahachie in Italy, Texas. And they do wonderful post-traumatic growth work, mostly with combat veterans, but also with first responders. And I've been doing that work now for about 8 years. And I do it 60, 70 days a year now. I love it. Well, thank you. I love it. And so this is one that was written there at a retreat for combat vets. And we had a group of 8 women and men who served in combat, and also we had 4 songwriters. So I wrote this with James House, who's a great songwriter, and one of the songs he helped write was Dwight Yoakam. I ain't that lonely yet. No, I ain't that lonely yet. Remember that song? And And Terry Radigan, who's this awesome rock and roll chick from New York City, just really awesome spirit, that old-fashioned New York, like Brill Building kind of rock and roll spirit. And Mark Nessler, who's just a classic, country songwriter, pure country songwriter. But also 8 vets and men and women. And we had written all weekend. We had written 9 songs in 2 days between all those people. And we needed to write one last group song. And I was sort of leading the group, and I said, think about this for a minute. What have we not written about this weekend that you don't want to leave here without acknowledging? And they all put their heads together, and the veterans said, we want to write a song for the people who didn't make it back with us, who we served with, who didn't come back. And we want to write one for the people who came back that didn't make it through that either. And because, there's a veteran suicide epidemic that's been going on for decades. And they said, and we want to write a song for our friends who haven't had the opportunity to do something like this yet and express ourselves and have it turned into something else like a song. So this is called At Ease, and it actually got released Memorial Day this year. And so you can go listen to it wherever you listen to music. It's not in a physical form, but it's out there in the streaming world. And it's called At Ease, and that was the song, the title. These songs are all written where we try to, the goal is to use the veterans or the first responders' words and not embellish them with songwritery frills. Let the words be theirs, and we just help turn it into a song. So it's a great program, and there's hundreds of songs on the Songwriting with Soldiers website. It was started by a gentleman from Houston who lives in Austin now named Darden Smith. And so thank God for Darden Smith. Some of the other writers are Mary Gaucher, who's probably the most well-known for it. She made a record that got nominated for a Grammy in 2018 called Rifles and Rosary Beads. I played on that album, and that's how I got involved. Radney Foster, Gary Nicholson, Daryl Scott, Beth Nielsen Chapman, James House, Mark Nessler, just some of the best songwriters I've ever known are doing this work. So here we go. At ease, my friends, at ease. Lay your burden down. Take a breath and rest in the new faith that you found. We came in as strangers, gathered here as friends, opened up and shared our hearts, family to the end, where stories are remembered, letting you can let it go. You'll never be forgotten now that they've been told. At ease, my friends, at ease. Lay your burden down. Take a breath and rest in the new faith that you found. We came in as strangers, gathered here as friends, opened up and shared our hearts, family to the end. Instead of just surviving and letting days go by, this is my revival, time to live my life. At ease, my friends, at ease. Lay your burden down. Take a breath and rest in the new faith that you found. We came in as strangers and we're gathered here as friends, opened up and shared our hearts, family to the end.
take it down the road. You can sing your song everywhere you go. At ease, my friends, at ease. Lay your burden down. Take a breath and rest in the new faith that you found. We came in as strangers and we're gathered here as friends. Opened up and shared our hearts, family to the end. Opened up and shared our hearts, family to the end. At ease, my friends, at ease. Lay your burden down.
All right. I want to thank y'all. I don't know if I'm running over time. Anybody tell me? Am I okay? Okay. So